Welcome to Monk's Temple. There is a silence here that does not ask for anything. A stillness that is not empty, but full of presence, full of gentle acceptance. You have come here carrying things. Thoughts that circle like tired birds. A heart that has been trying so very hard. A mind that has been measuring, comparing, judging. You can set it all down now. Just for these moments. There is no test to pass. No self to improve. Only this breath. Only this listening. You've been told that self-love is a mountain to climb. That you must build strength, gather tools, and strive upward until you reach a summit where you will finally see yourself clearly and approve. But what if the mountain is an illusion? What if the love you seek is not above you, but within you, not ahead of you, but already here, buried not under rock, but under layers of trying? Buddhism offers a quiet revelation. The peace you long for is not manufactured by effort. It is revealed when effort ceases. It is not an achievement of the mind, but the natural state of the heart when the mind becomes still. You cannot think your way into self-love. You must unthink your way out of self-conflict. Let me share a story from my early days at the temple. There was a great old bell in the courtyard, cast from bronze, its surface worn smooth by centuries of weather and touch. It was my task to ring it at dawn and dusk. I approached it with a kind of fervent seriousness. I believed the quality of the ring depended entirely on my force, my perfect strike. I would wind my body tight, focus all my will, and swing the heavy log striker with all my might. The sound that came out was harsh, clanging, short-lived. It felt like a shout that died in the air. I grew frustrated. I tried different angles, different grips. The sound never improved. One morning, the eldest monk saw me struggling. He walked over, placed a weathered hand on my shoulder, and said, "You are fighting the bell. You are trying to pull the sound from it. The sound is not in your arms. It is in the bell. Your job is not to create it, but to allow it." He then showed me. He stood calmly, centered. He did not pull the striker back far. He simply allowed its weight to swing, guiding it with a relaxed grace until it kissed the edge of the bell. A deep, resonant, pure tone bloomed into the morning air. It vibrated in my chest. It seemed to go on forever, rolling across the valley, soft, immense, and complete. The difference was not in strength, but in surrender. He was not hitting the bell, he was meeting it, and in that meeting, its true voice was released. This is the first lesson. You are that bell. Your essence, your worth, your capacity for love, it is already cast, whole and complete within you. Your striving, your self-criticism, your relentless trying. That is you swinging the striker with tense, desperate force. The result is a harsh, unsatisfying clang. A life lived as a series of efforts and disappointments. But when you stop forcing, when you relax the grip of your will, when you simply meet yourself with a gentle, allowing touch, your own true tone begins to sound. It is not loud, but it is deep. It does not need to be forced, because it is real. It is the sound of you, unmuffled by struggle. We often mistake self-love for self-admiration. We believe it means looking in the mirror and cheering. But Buddhism guides us towards something more profound and more accessible, self-acquaintance. It is the gentle, patient, curious attitude you might take when sitting with a stranger you sense could become a friend. You do not demand they entertain you. You do not critique their clothing. You simply listen. You observe. You allow them to be as they are. Can you offer that same courtesy to yourself? Can you sit with your own being, your tiredness, your hope, your quiet fears, your simple joys, not as a judge, but as a compassionate witness? There is a pond in the temple gardens. In the spring, the willow trees dip their green fingers into its surface. People come and toss pebbles, watching the ripples disrupt the reflection of the sky. They see only the broken image, the chaotic rings. They say, the water is disturbed. But the water is not the ripples. The water is what holds the ripples. Your mind is the same. Thoughts are the pebbles. Emotions are the ripples. You are the water, vast, still, and fundamentally untouched by the temporary disturbances on your surface. Your practice is not to stop the pebbles from falling, life will always toss them. Your practice is to remember you are the deep, clear water that contains the movement without being broken by it. If this space of gentle remembering resonates with you, if you feel a softening, a release of a breath you didn't know you were holding, you are welcome to subscribe to Monk's Temple. Let this be a sanctuary you can return to, a reminder to stop fighting your own bell, and to listen for its true, resonant tone. We will continue in a moment. For now, just rest. Let the words fade. Feel the quiet that follows. In that quiet, something ancient and kind within you stirs. It knows the way home. Let us continue our wandering in this garden of understanding. Find your breath again. That constant, faithful rhythm. You do not have to follow it. Simply know it is there, like the distant hum of the earth itself. We often build our identity like a fortress. Stone by stone, we construct it from our achievements, our roles, our relationships, our possessions. We hang banners of past successes and fortify the walls with plans for future triumphs. We stand guard on the battlements, watching for any threat to this structure we call me. And then, life being life, the winds come. A failure. A loss. A change. A simple, quiet moment of not knowing who we are. And we feel the fortress shake. We scramble to repair the walls, to defend the flag. Our entire sense of worth becomes tied to the integrity of this building. This is a life of immense, exhausting effort. Buddhism gently points to the open sky beyond the fortress walls. It asks a simple, revolutionary question: what if you are not the fortress at all? What if you are the spacious sky in which the fortress is temporarily built? The sky does not fear the storm. It does not crumble when a wall falls. It holds clouds and clear blue with the same boundless acceptance. Your true nature is more like that sky than like the fragile, meticulously maintained structure you've been defending. I recall a woman who came to the temple many summers ago. She was a successful architect, a master of designing imposing, beautiful structures. Her life, too, was a masterpiece of design, a perfect career, a curated home, a polished social calendar. Then, a sudden illness took it all away. For months, she was bedridden. The career paused. The social life vanished. The perfect home became a sick room. When she was able to travel, she came here, not for healing in the physical sense, but because, as she said, I have lost myself. The person I was is gone. She sat in the garden, looking utterly lost, as if the blueprint of her soul had been erased. I asked her to look up. It was one of those vast, cloudless blue days. "Describe the sky to me," I said. She did, listing its blueness, its clarity, its emptiness. "Now," I said, "imagine a magnificent building against that sky. Describe the building." She did, with an architect's eye for detail. "Now," I asked, "if the building were to disappear, what happens to the sky?" She was silent for a long time. A tear traced a line down her cheek, but it was not a tear of sadness. It was a tear of recognition. "The sky remains," she whispered. "The sky is unchanged." She had spent a lifetime identifying as the magnificent building. Her illness had not attacked her, it had simply, and painfully, dismantled the building. She had mistaken the architecture for the architect, the form for the formless awareness that witnessed it all. Her journey back to peace began not with rebuilding, but with rediscovering the sky-like awareness that had been there all along, silent, spacious, and inherently whole, whether a palace or a ruin stood within it. This leads us to a core Buddhist principle, anatta, or non-self. This is not a bleak notion of becoming nobody. It is a liberating realization that you are not the solid, unchanging thing you have been desperately maintaining. You are a flowing process, a field of experience, a conscious space. When you stop pouring all your energy into being a perfect, permanent fortress, you begin to enjoy the freedom of being the open sky. Worry becomes a passing cloud. Joy becomes a burst of sunlight. None of it defines you. All of it is allowed to pass through you. Let me offer you a new metaphor. Consider the ocean and the wave. A wave rises from the ocean, crests with a unique shape and fury, and then subsides back into the deep. From its limited perspective, the wave might believe, "I am this form. I am this movement. I must maintain my height, my speed." It might fear its own end, its dissolution. But from the ocean's perspective, the wave was never separate. Its rising and falling is just the ocean expressing itself, playing. You are the ocean believing you are a single, isolated wave. Your suffering is the wave's terror of crashing. Your peace is the ocean's knowing that every wave is eternally part of the boundless whole. You cannot be lost, because you are the very thing from which everything arises. There is a practice we can do, right now. It is not about adding anything. It is about noticing what is already, always true. Close your eyes softly. Feel the sensations in your body, the pressure, the warmth, the subtle tingling. Notice thoughts appearing and disappearing. Hear sounds coming and going. Now, instead of latching onto any one sensation, thought, or sound, become aware of the space in which all of this is happening. The aware, open, silent space that is reading these words. That is hearing the sounds. That is feeling the feelings. Do not try to define this space. Do not call it me or mine. Simply rest as this aware space. For these few breaths, let the waves of experience rise and fall. You are the ocean holding them. Immense. Calm. Unshakably deep. We spend our lives polishing the wave, worrying about its form, comparing its height to others. Buddhism simply asks us to remember we are the water. And the water is already perfect, whether still or in motion. Let's breathe into a new understanding now. Feel the air as it enters, not as a task, but as a gift. Feel it leave, not as a loss, but as a release. There is a rhythm here, older than thought, wiser than worry. One of the most tender wounds we carry is the belief that our pain is a mistake. That anxiety, sadness, grief, or fear are evidence of a flaw in our spiritual makeup. We treat our difficult emotions like uninvited guests, barging into the pristine house of the healed, or enlightened, life we feel we should be living. We try to usher them out quickly, hide them in closets, or pretend they aren't standing right in front of us, asking for our attention. This inner conflict, this civil war of acceptance, is where we leak our own peace. Buddhism does not ask you to become a person who never feels pain. It guides you to become a person who is no longer afraid of it. The Buddha's first noble truth is not a condemnation, but a compassionate acknowledgement: there is suffering. To be alive in this world of constant change is to experience dukkha, a word meaning unease, stress, the subtle friction of things not being exactly as we wish. Your sadness is not a failure to be happy. It is a testament to your capacity to care. Your fear is not a cowardice. It is an intelligence trying to protect the life it values. When you begin to see your pain not as a personal failing, but as part of the shared, human condition, something profound shifts. The stigma melts. The loneliness of suffering dissolves. You realize you are not broken, you are alive, sensitive, and deeply feeling. I remember a young man who came to the temple, a musician, whose hands would shake with a nervous tremor before every performance. He saw this tremor as the enemy. He hated it. He would clench his fists, curse his body, and the fear would only grow, a feedback loop of resistance and panic. He believed that to be a true artist, he had to conquer this weakness. One day, I asked him to bring his instrument to a quiet grove. Do not play to perform, I said. Play for the trembling. Let your hands shake, and play with the shake. Let the tremor become part of the music. He looked at me as if I were mad. But desperation has a way of opening us to new ways. He lifted his instrument, and as the familiar tremor began, he did not fight it. He let his fingers find the strings, and a new, raw, beautifully imperfect sound emerged. It was not the clean, technical piece he had practiced. It was something else, haunting, human, alive with vulnerability. He played until tears mixed with the sound. The tremor did not vanish that day, but its meaning was transformed. It was no longer the enemy of his art, it had become its most honest signature. His struggle had not been with the tremor, but with his judgment of it. This is the practice of making room. Your heart is not a closet to be kept neat and orderly. It is a vast inner landscape with weather systems. Some days are sunny and clear. Some days are shrouded in fog. Some days, storms roll through with thunderous emotion. You are not the weather. You are the land that holds it all. The land does not panic in a storm. It does not apologize for the fog. It simply allows the weather to be, knowing it is temporary, knowing it is natural. Can you offer your inner landscape the same spacious hospitality? Can you say to your anxiety, I see you. You may pass through. Can you say to your grief, there is room for you here. Take your time. Let us invent a metaphor together. Imagine your awareness is a vast, clear, night sky. Thoughts are shooting stars, brief, brilliant streaks that vanish. Emotions are clouds of varying shapes and densities, some light and wispy, some dark and heavy. Now, if you are the sky, what is your relationship to the clouds? Do you fight the dark clouds? Do you cling to the pretty, pink sunset clouds? No. You, as the sky, hold them all with infinite space. You are not stained by the dark cloud. You are not improved by the sunset. You are the context, not the content. The moment you identify as a dark cloud, I am a sad person, you lose contact with the sky. The practice is to gently, continually, return to being the sky. Ah, there is a cloud of sadness passing through. How interesting. The sky is still here, vast and untouched. This is not passive resignation. It is profound empowerment. It is the shift from being at the mercy of your emotional weather to being the spacious awareness that can observe it with compassion. A storm observed with curiosity loses its power to terrify. It becomes a phenomenon to be witnessed, a force of nature moving through the boundless field of your being. So, for now, let's practice just this. Wherever you are, pause. Identify one sensation or feeling that is present, perhaps one you've been subtly resisting. A tightness in the chest. A low hum of worry. A deep fatigue. Instead of pushing it away or getting lost in its story, do this: take one gentle breath directly into that sensation. Imagine your breath is not just air, but kindness, making space around the tightness, the worry, the fatigue. You are not trying to fix it. You are simply softening the borders around it, giving it a little more room to exist. And as you do, notice, you are the one giving the space. You are larger than the sensation. You are the sky, making room for a cloud. In that moment, you are practicing the deepest form of self-love, the love that does not demand change as a condition for care. Let us move now to a quiet corner of the garden, where the light filters differently through the leaves. Settle your hearing here, into the soft spaces between sounds. There is wisdom in the pauses. We have been taught that growth is a forward march. A linear progression from worse to better, from broken to fixed, from ignorant to wise. We chart our healing on imaginary timelines, growing frustrated when we circle back to old feelings, when we stumble over familiar stones on the path. We whisper to ourselves, "I thought I was past this," and in that whisper, we add a layer of shame to our pain. We turn our own evolution into a report card, and we are often our harshest grader. Buddhism views growth not as a straight line, but as an ascending spiral. Think of a spiral staircase. With each turn, you pass over the same point on the ground floor, but you are not on the ground floor anymore. You are higher. You have a new perspective. You revisit an old fear, an old grief, an old pattern, not because you failed, but because you are now strong enough to see it from a new height, to understand it with a new depth. The emotion may feel familiar, but you are not. You are meeting it with more awareness, more compassion, more space. This is not regression. This is integration. I will tell you a story about a tree in the monastery woods. It was an old maple, scarred by lightning many years before I arrived. The scar was deep, a gash that looked painful. Every spring, as the tree sent sap up its trunk, some would weep slowly from that old wound. Visitors would often point and say, "That poor tree is still hurting. It never healed." But the senior gardener would smile. He taught me to see differently. He showed how the tree had not tried to erase the scar. Instead, it had grown around it. The trunk had thickened, its rings expanding in concentric circles, enveloping the wound into its very structure, making it part of its strength. The sap that wept in spring was not a sign of ongoing injury, it was simply part of the tree's rhythm, a cleansing. The tree's growth was not linear, it didn't move past the lightning strike. It spiraled around it, incorporating it, transforming the point of greatest weakness into a testament of resilience. Your healing is this tree. Your wounds are not forgotten. They are integrated. They become part of your story, your wisdom, your unique contour. You do not heal by pretending the lightning never struck. You heal by growing a life so vast and deep that the scar becomes a sacred knot in the wood of your being. This is a radical departure from the culture of perfect recovery. We are sold the idea of closure, of neat endings, of putting things behind us. But life is not a book with chapters that cleanly end. It is a living tree, where all seasons exist in the whole. The leaves of last year have fallen and decomposed, yet they nourish the roots for this year's blossoms. Your past sorrows are like that. They are not dead weight to discard, they are the rich, dark soil from which your present compassion grows. Let's create a new metaphor. Imagine you are a potter at a wheel. You begin with a lump of clay, your raw experience, your joys, and your traumas all mixed together. The first time you try to center the clay, it wobbles. A memory of old pain throws it off balance. The conventional approach is to cut that piece of clay out, to discard the flawed material. But the true artist does something else. She stops the wheel. She doesn't remove the clay. She simply wets her hands again, applies a steady, gentle pressure, and begins again, bringing the entire lump, flaws and all, back toward the center. She does this not once, but countless times. Each recentering incorporates the resistant, hard bits. In the end, the finished vessel is strong and beautiful because it contains all of the clay, perfectly integrated. Your spiritual practice is this recentering. Not the removal of your difficult parts, but the gentle, patient, repeated action of bringing your whole, messy, beautiful self back to the heart center of your awareness, again and again. What if you measured your growth not by the absence of pain, but by the quality of your presence with it? Not by how happy you feel, but by how kindly you can hold yourself when you are not. This is the spiral path. You will revisit. You will remember. You will feel tender places. But each time, see if you can notice, is my breath a little softer? Is my inner critic a little quieter? Is there a sliver more of space between the feeling and my reaction to it? That space, however small, is the evidence of your ascent. That is the turn of the spiral. For now, let this be a permission slip. Permission to not be over it. Permission to have a tender day. Permission for your healing to be a slow, meandering river rather than a straight, efficient canal. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are, on your own spiral staircase, and the view from here, with all its familiar and new sights, is uniquely and perfectly yours. Now, let's turn our attention to a force so common, so habitual, it feels like the very air we breathe, the need for control. We believe that to be safe, to be worthy, to be loved, we must manage everything. We must control our emotions, our thoughts, our appearance, our productivity, the opinions of others, the outcomes of our days. We live with a subtle, constant clenching, a mental fist held tight around the river of life, trying to steer its course. The exhaustion from this is immense. It is the exhaustion of a swimmer fighting the current instead of floating. Buddhism presents a counterintuitive truth: control is an illusion. The more tightly you grasp, the more life slips through your fingers, and the more you suffer. Real peace is found not in mastering the uncontrollable, but in relaxing your grip on it. It is the profound serenity of the leaf that floats on the stream, trusting the water's intelligence. It does not know the destination, but it knows it is held. There is a famous teaching about the raft. The Buddha said his teachings are like a raft, useful for crossing a river of confusion. But upon reaching the other shore, you do not pick up the heavy raft and carry it on your back for the rest of your journey. You let it go. We, however, spend our lives not just carrying the raft, but trying to control the river itself. We build dams of expectation, we dig canals of rigid plans, and we grow furious when the river has the audacity to flood or change course. The practice is to build a skillful raft, mindfulness, compassion, ethical living, and then to use it to float, not to fight the water. And eventually, to let go of even the need for the raft, and simply swim in the truth of the way things are. I remember a master calligrapher who visited the temple. We watched in awe as he created stunning, fluid characters with a single, effortless stroke. A student, trying to replicate the work, gripped the brush with white knuckles, his face tense with concentration. His lines were shaky, hesitant, ugly. Frustrated, he asked for the secret. The master said, "You are trying to control the brush. I am in a relationship with it. I do not hold it, I am held by it. The ink wishes to flow. The paper wishes to receive. My hand is merely the witness to their meeting." He then had the student close his eyes and make a single line without any intention of creating a character. Just a breath, and a sweep of the arm. The line that emerged was confident, beautiful in its pure expression. The student's problem was not a lack of skill, but an excess of control. He was imposing his will upon a process that required surrender. Your life is that brushstroke. When you clench with control, the line of your experience becomes jagged and strained. When you relax into a trusting relationship with the moment, allowing it to move through you, the line becomes graceful, unique, and inherently beautiful. Let's imagine a new metaphor. Think of your mind as a vast, clear lake. Control is like stirring the water constantly with a stick. You stir to arrange the pebbles, to direct the fish, to calm the waves, to clear the murk. But all this stirring only keeps the water cloudy. You cannot see the bottom. You cannot see the reflection of the sky. Stillness is not something you do, it is what happens when you finally drop the stick. When you stop stirring, the sediment settles naturally. The water clears. Your true nature, calm, clear, reflective, reveals itself without any effort on your part. All your spiritual practices, meditation, prayer, mindful breathing, are not about gaining control. They are about dropping the stick. They are the conscious decision to stop stirring the water of your own being, and to allow clarity to emerge on its own terms. This can feel frightening. To relinquish control seems like surrendering to chaos. But chaos is what we experience when we are frantically trying to control the uncontrollable. The deep order of the universe is not chaos, it is a flowing, intelligent harmony that operates on a scale far beyond our petty plans. Trusting that harmony is the ultimate act of faith. It is not faith in a specific outcome, but faith in the process of life itself. It is the trust of the seed buried in dark soil. It does not control its transformation into a plant. It simply surrenders to the conditions, and in that surrender, it becomes what it was always meant to be. So, for this moment, practice dropping the stick. Identify one small thing you are subtly trying to control right now. Perhaps the flow of your thoughts as you listen. Perhaps the posture of your body. Perhaps the expectation of where this talk should go. See if you can, just for a few breaths, consciously let go of that management. Don't try to make your thoughts calm. Don't force your body to relax. Simply stop managing. Notice what happens. There might be a moment of unease, a fear of falling. Then, often, there is a softening. A spontaneous breath. A gentle settling. That settling is not you achieving stillness. It is stillness reasserting itself once the obstacle of your control has been moved aside. You are learning to float in the lake of your own mind, and discovering it has always known how to hold you. Let us now walk to a different part of the inner garden, where the ground is soft and the light is dappled. Here, we encounter a shadow that often masquerades as light, the pursuit of a better tomorrow. We are taught to live in a state of perpetual becoming. I'll be happy when. I'll love myself after. I'll be at peace once. We postpone our wholeness, conditioning it on a future achievement, a future version of ourselves that is thinner, wiser, richer, calmer. We mortgage the present moment for a future that never actually arrives, because once we get there, the mind simply invents a new there to strive for. This is the treadmill of becoming, and it is a profound source of emptiness. Buddhism emphasizes the radical importance of being over becoming. The Buddha did not say, become enlightened. He pointed to the fact of your inherent Buddha nature, your capacity for wakefulness, which exists right now, beneath the clutter of your striving. Enlightenment is not a future prize, it is a present moment recognition. It is the shift from, I am a seed that must become a tree, to, I am the tree, already whole, simply experiencing different seasons. Your worth is not pending. It is present. I recall a man who came to the temple on a retreat. He was a brilliant scientist, obsessed with self-optimization. He had charts for his sleep, his nutrition, his cognitive performance, his emotional states. He was a project manager for his own humanity. His goal for the retreat was to achieve a state of uninterrupted mindfulness. He approached meditation as a task to be mastered. He would sit with fierce determination, berating himself for every wandering thought. By the third day, he was exhausted and despondent. He said, I am failing at peace. I took him to the pottery shed, but not to throw a pot. I pointed to a shelf of finished bowls, glazed and fired. Which of these is most itself? I asked. He looked confused. They are all finished. They are all themselves. Exactly, I said. The clay did not strive to become a bowl. It allowed itself to be shaped, fired, and glazed. Now it is complete. It is not becoming a bowl. It is a bowl. In this moment, you are not becoming a person. You are a person. Complete. Not because you are perfect, but because you are present. Your breathing, your hearing, your aching back from sitting too long, this is the finished bowl of this moment. It needs no addition. He sat quietly for a long time, and when he finally spoke, his voice was softer. I have been trying to fire myself in a kiln of my own making, and I am always finding cracks. I replied, perhaps stop firing. Simply be the clay, moist and malleable, alive in the hands of this present experience. He began to weep, not from sadness, but from the relief of putting down a burden he hadn't known he was carrying, the burden of his own future. Let's create a metaphor. Imagine you are a musician who has only ever played music by reading sheet note by note, always focused on the next measure, the next page, the finale. You are so fixated on the sequence, on getting it right, that you never hear the chord you are currently playing. Buddhism invites you to put down the sheet music. It asks you to listen to the single, resonant note of the present. This breath. This sensation. This sound. In that note, fully heard, is the entire symphony. The future is just an imagined melody. The past is an echo. But this note, this is real. This is where life is. When you stop trying to play the future song called A Better Me, you start to hear the beautiful, imperfect, authentic music of the me that is. This is not an argument against growth or intention. It is a clarification of where they must be rooted. A tree grows not by straining toward the sky, but by sinking its roots deeply into the soil of the present moment. From that grounded being, growth happens naturally, organically. Your intentions are like the tree's orientation toward the sun. A gentle leaning, not a frantic grabbing. When you are fully rooted in the now, your actions arise from wholeness, not from lack. You work not because you are not enough, but because your enoughness is expressing itself creatively. So, let's practice rooting. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the points of contact with the chair or floor. This is your root system, right now. Bring your attention to the very center of your chest, the area of the heart. Imagine a soft, warm light there. With each inhale, imagine you are drawing nourishment from the present moment into this heart space. With each exhale, imagine you are releasing any need for this moment to be different. You are not breathing to get somewhere. You are breathing to be right here. In this anchored presence, the frantic energy of becoming settles. You are no longer running toward a horizon. You are inhabiting the ground beneath your feet. And in this ground, you are already, completely, home. We find ourselves now before a deep, quiet pool in the garden. Its surface is so still it reflects the sky with perfect clarity. But we are often afraid of this stillness. We avoid it. We fill it with noise, with music, with chatter, with scrolling, with the relentless productivity of thought. We mistake stillness for emptiness, for boredom, for a void that must be filled. But in the wisdom of Buddhism, stillness is not empty. It is profoundly full. It is the fertile ground from which all true understanding grows. It is the space where the mud of our confusion settles, and the water of our mind becomes clear. We live in a world that worships movement, action, and noise. We believe that if we are not doing, we are not being valuable. We treat our own minds the same way. If we are not thinking, planning, analyzing, we feel we are wasting time. But what is being wasted? The mind's natural state, when not agitated by clinging and aversion, is peaceful awareness. It is like a mirror. A mirror does not try to reflect, it simply does, with perfect accuracy, when it is still. When you shake the mirror, the image shatters. Our constant mental activity is that shaking. We are trying to see ourselves clearly while refusing to let the mirror of the mind rest. Buddha's own awakening happened not in a frenzy of seeking, but in the profound stillness under the Bodhi tree. He sat. He let go of striving. He allowed all things, temptations, fears, memories, to arise and pass without engaging in battle with them. In that ultimate stillness, the mirror of his mind became utterly clear, and he saw the nature of reality reflected back without distortion. The path, therefore, is not about adding more knowledge to a busy mind. It is about subtracting the agitation so that the mind's innate wisdom can shine forth. I remember an elderly woman who began visiting the temple gardens every day. She would not meditate in the hall. She would simply sit on the same bench by a still pond for exactly 1 hour, rain or shine. Curious, I finally joined her one afternoon. After a long silence, I asked, "What practice are you doing here?" She smiled, her eyes crinkling. "I am practicing being a pond," she said. I must have looked puzzled. She continued, "For 80 years, I was a river. Rushing, pushing, carving canyons through my life. Always moving towards something. Now, I am learning to be a pond. The same water, but still. Letting things settle. Letting the sky show itself to me." She pointed to the water. "When I am still like this, I can see everything clearly. My own reflection, the clouds, the birds flying over. When I was a river, I was too busy moving to see anything at all." Her practice was the essence of Zen, just sitting. Not to gain anything, but to allow everything to be as it is. In that allowing, she found a clarity that all her years of rushing had never afforded her. Let's build a new metaphor. Imagine your awareness is a vast, clear night sky. Your thoughts and feelings are stars. When the mind is agitated, it is like a turbulent atmosphere. The stars twinkle wildly, blur, seem to jump and dart. It's beautiful in its way, but it's hard to see the true constellations, the deep patterns. Stillness is like a night of perfect atmospheric calm. The stars stop twinkling. They become steady, brilliant points of light. The vast structure of the galaxy becomes visible. Your inner cosmos reveals its order and beauty not when you try to arrange the stars, but when you simply allow the atmosphere of your mind to grow still. The practice of meditation is not about creating this calm atmosphere, but about ceasing to create the wind that disturbs it. This is why Buddhism so often turns to the breath. The breath is an anchor to the present, but it is also a metaphor for this natural rhythm of engagement and release, filling and emptying, effort and surrender. You cannot force the breath for long without panicking. You cannot stop it without dying. You can only be with it, allowing its innate intelligence to guide the process. In that gentle companionship with your own breath, you are practicing the ultimate trust, the trust that life can be lived without your micromanagement, that peace is not a state you manufacture, but a rhythm you join. So, for the next few minutes, let us practice being a pond. Let us practice having a calm atmosphere. There is no goal. If thoughts come, let them be like leaves falling onto the surface of the pond. They may cause a ripple. Notice the ripple, and then notice how the pond returns to stillness, all on its own. You don't have to smooth the water. The water knows how to be still. You are that water. If emotions arise, let them be like subtle winds. Notice the wind, and then notice the vast sky that holds the wind. The sky is not damaged by the wind. You are that sky. In this simple, profound resting, you are not doing spirituality. You are being what you have always been, aware, spacious, and inherently peaceful. The love you seek is not found in the ripples or the wind. It is found in the deep, still water and the vast, open sky that remain when the movements pass through. Let's now consider a subtle but powerful force that shapes our inner world, the stories we tell ourselves. We are all master narrators, crafting ongoing tales about who we are, why things happen, and what it all means. I am the kind of person who. This always happens to me because. My life is a story of. These narratives feel like truth, but in Buddhism, they are seen as sankharas, mental formations, constructs of the mind. They are not reality itself, but our interpretation of it. And we often confuse the interpretation for the fact, then live inside the cramped, sometimes painful world of that story. The Buddha taught about the danger of clinging to views. It's not that views are wrong, but that we solidify them into a rigid identity, a fortress of, I am right, from which we suffer. The story, I am unlovable, is just a thought, repeated until it feels like a law of the universe. But it is not a fact, it is a painful fiction you have agreed to live inside. Liberation begins when you see the story as a story. When you can say, there is the familiar, I am not enough, narrative arising again, you create a space between you and the plot. You are no longer just the character, you become the aware space in which the character is perceived. I once knew a gardener at the temple who had a profound stutter. For decades, the story he told himself was, I am broken. My voice is a failure. I must hide. This story made him silent, lonely, and ashamed. He tended the most beautiful, silent roses. One day, a child visiting the temple got lost and was crying. The gardener found her. He was so moved by her fear that, without thinking, he began to hum a lullaby. The humming was smooth, melodic. Then, slowly, he began to sing the words. The song flowed out, clear and unbroken. The child stopped crying, mesmerized. When he finished, he was as shocked as anyone. The head monk, who had witnessed it, said to him later, You have been telling yourself the story of a stutterer. But that was never the whole story. Your true story is of a man with a song so beautiful, even fear could not block it. The gardener wept. He had mistaken one chapter, a difficult one, for the entire book of his being. From that day, he didn't stutter less out of force. He simply began to identify less with the stutterer story and more with the spacious awareness that could both stutter and sing. The narrative lost its power to define him. Let's create a metaphor. Imagine your life is a vast, ever-changing sky. Your thoughts and stories are like weather patterns, a front of sadness, a high-pressure system of anxiety, a sunny spell of joy. If you identify as the weather, your life is a turbulent forecast. I am depressed. But if you remember you are the sky, you can observe, there is a period of depression moving through. The sky holds the weather but is not damaged by it. Your practice is to notice the story, the emotional weather pattern, and to gently remind yourself, I am not this storm. I am the vastness that allows it to pass. This is how you stop living inside a painful narrative and start living in the reality of direct experience, which is always fresher, more immediate, and less confined than the story about it. So, right now, bring to mind a persistent story you tell yourself. Maybe it's, "I'm too sensitive," or "I always mess things up," or "I have to be strong." Notice it. Don't try to change it or argue with it. Just see it as a sentence, an arrangement of words and familiar feelings. Now, feel the space around that story. Feel the awareness that is seeing the story. That awareness is silent, boundless, and free. It is not defined by the narrative. Rest in that aware space for just a few breaths. Let the story sit in the distance, like a book on a shelf. You are not the book. You are the reader, and you can close at any time. Let us turn our attention to a concept that feels heavy, yet is often misunderstood: discipline. We are taught that discipline is a force of will, a strict regimen, a gritting of teeth to push through resistance toward a goal. We apply this to our spiritual life as well. We force ourselves to meditate for 20 minutes, judge ourselves for missing a day, and turn mindfulness into another item on a punishing to-do list. This kind of discipline comes from a place of lack, the belief that we are not good enough as we are, and must correct ourselves through rigid control. Buddhism offers a different, more compassionate understanding. True discipline, or sila, is not about punishment or force. It is about loving protection. It is the gentle, consistent act of protecting your own peace. It is saying no to a harmful habit not because you hate yourself, but because you love yourself enough to not want to cause yourself more suffering. It is the discipline of a mother who gently removes a sharp object from her child's hand, not an act of restriction, but an act of profound care. This discipline arises naturally from self-compassion, not from self-loathing. I remember a novice monk who struggled terribly with the early morning meditation. He would drag himself to the hall, filled with resentment and sleepiness, battling his own body for an hour. He saw his drowsiness as a moral failing, a lack of discipline. One morning, the teacher found him not in the hall, but sitting under a tree, simply watching the sunrise, his face relaxed. The teacher sat beside him. The novice braced for a scolding. Instead, the teacher said softly, "You have found a better meditation hall today." The novice was confused. "But I skipped the practice," he said. The teacher replied, "The practice is not to sit in a hall. The practice is to wake up. Your body was asking for rest, and your heart was asking for beauty. By listening, you practiced the deepest discipline, the discipline of honoring your own being. Now, you are truly here. Now, you can meditate." From that day, the novice's practice transformed. His discipline became about kind listening and wise response, not about obeying a rigid rule. His meditation deepened because it was no longer a war. Let's imagine a new metaphor. Think of your mind as a wild, beautiful, and sensitive garden. The old model of discipline is like being a harsh groundskeeper. You march in with shears, cutting back anything that looks unruly. You pour chemicals on weeds of unwanted thought. You force the roses to bloom out of season. The garden becomes orderly, but lifeless and strained. The Buddhist model of discipline is like being a wise and loving gardener. You learn the seasons of your own soul. You pull the weeds of harmful action gently, understanding their roots. You water the seeds of patience and kindness. You protect the tender shoots of peace from the harsh winds of overstimulation. You don't fight the garden, you collaborate with it. Your discipline is the daily, loving attention that allows the garden's innate beauty to flourish on its own terms. This shifts everything. You don't force yourself to be mindful, you lovingly remove the distractions that pull you from mindfulness. You don't punish yourself for anger, you gently create the conditions where anger is less likely to arise. This discipline feels like kindness, not control. It is sustainable because it is rooted in care, not in fear of inadequacy. So, in this moment, consider one small thing. Not a grand resolution, but a tiny act of protective love for your own peace. It might be closing your eyes for 3 breaths before checking your phone again. It might be drinking a glass of water instead of a stimulant. It might be softening your shoulders as you read this. Do it not as a rule, but as a gift. A gift from the loving gardener within to the beautiful garden that is you. Notice how this feels fundamentally different from an act of forced will. This is the discipline of the heart. It is the way we build a life that is not a monument to our effort, but a sanctuary for our soul. Now, let's sit with a feeling so universal, it ties a knot in the human heart, the feeling of being separate. We feel separate from others, from nature, from joy, from our own sense of wholeness. This sense of separation is the fertile ground for loneliness, jealousy, competition, and the aching question, why am I alone in this? We build walls to protect this separate self, but the walls themselves become the prison. We feel isolated inside the very fortress we built for safety. Buddhism speaks directly to this wound with the teaching of interbeing or dependent origination. Nothing exists in isolation. You are not a solid, separate droplet of water, you are a temporary expression of the ocean, connected to every other wave, to the clouds, to the rain, to the rivers. The oxygen in your breath was once in a tree. The calcium in your bones was once in a star. The pain in your heart echoes the pain in hearts you have never met. This is not poetry, it is a fundamental truth of existence. The belief in a separate, independent self is the primal illusion, and from it, all other suffering flowers. When you feel unloved, it is often this sense of separateness screaming for connection. You look for another separate self to complete you, to fill the void. But no other droplet can fill the ocean. The healing comes not from finding the perfect other droplet, but from realizing you are already the ocean. Connection is not something you find out there, it is something you remember in here, the inherent interconnectedness of all life. I will tell you a story of a wall. In the village near the temple, 2 neighbors had a dispute and built a high wall between their properties. For years, they never spoke. One man tended a beautiful plum tree on his side. One season, the tree, in its boundless nature, grew a single branch over the wall. On the other side, it burst into the most exquisite, fragrant blossoms. The second man, who lived in bitter isolation, would sit in his yard and smell those blossoms. He couldn't help it, their beauty softened him. One day, he took a perfect plum that had fallen from that branch onto his side of the wall, made a jam, and placed a jar of it on his neighbor's doorstep with a note. Thank you for the beauty that knows no walls. The next day, the wall gate, rusted shut for years, was opened. The men did not become best friends. They simply shared tea in the space where the wall no longer stood. The tree was just being a tree. It had no concept of separation. Its very nature, to grow, to bloom, to offer fruit, dissolved a barrier that human stories had built. Your true nature is like that tree. When you are simply being, without the armor of a separate self, your presence naturally connects, heals, and opens gates. Let's create a metaphor. Imagine a tapestry. From the front, you see distinct, separate threads of color, a blue thread of sadness here, a gold thread of joy there, a red thread of anger. You identify as one single thread, alone, running your short course. But turn the tapestry over. The back reveals the truth. Every thread is woven into and supported by every other thread. Your blue thread of sadness is held by threads of resilience, memory, and hope. It crosses and intertwines with the threads of countless other lives, other stories. There are no separate threads, there is only the woven whole. Your feeling of separateness is looking at life from the front of the tapestry. Wisdom is feeling the connection from the back. This understanding transforms compassion from a duty into a natural reflex. You don't have to try to be compassionate. When you feel your connection, compassion is what you are. Hurting another would feel like hurting your own hand. Helping another feels like tending your own garden. The love you struggle to give yourself becomes easier when you see that the self you are loving is not a small, isolated thing, but a vital, unique pattern in the infinite tapestry of being. So, let's practice feeling this connection. Place your hand over your heart. Feel the beat. This rhythm is not yours alone. It is the echo of the first pulse in the womb of life. Now, bring to mind someone you love. Feel that feeling in your heart. Now, bring to mind a stranger. Offer the same feeling. Notice it is the same heart, the same capacity. The love does not come from them or for them, it flows through you, from the source of life itself. You are not a container of love. You are a channel. In this moment, the wall softens. You are not a lonely thread. You are the weaving. And in that weaving, you are forever held, forever connected, forever home. And so we arrive here, at the end of our wandering, and at the true beginning. We have walked through many gardens of thought, sat by many pools of reflection. We have spoken of effort and stillness, of fortresses and sky, of wounds and gold, of rivers and rafts. But all these paths lead to a single, quiet clearing in the heart. A clearing where nothing needs to be said, because everything is already understood. A place where you are not a seeker, because you have been found. This clearing has a name, though names are too small for it. You might call it peace. You might call it acceptance. You might call it love. In the language of this temple, we call it coming home. Buddhism, in all its gentle wisdom, is not a path that leads away from yourself to some distant enlightenment. It is a path that leads you back to the self you were before you learned you were broken. Back to the heart you had before it was told to close. Back to the breath that has been faithful since your first cry. The entire journey is a return. You are not becoming enlightened. You are remembering that you are already light, and that the shadows were only ever passing clouds. There is a story of an old mirror in the deepest chamber of the temple. It is said that centuries ago, a great master placed it there, and over time, dust and grime covered its surface so completely that it looked like a dull, gray stone. Novices would pass it, unaware of what it was. One day, a young child wandered into the chamber. Curious, she began to wipe the glass with the sleeve of her robe. She saw a smudge of her own reflection and, delighted, kept cleaning. She spent hours there, patiently wiping away the dirt. When she was finished, the mirror shone, reflecting the entire room, the light from the window, and her own radiant, smiling face. She had not created the mirror. She had not purchased a new one. She had simply removed what was hiding it. The master, hearing of this, simply nodded and said, "The youngest among us understands the deepest truth. Our practice is not to acquire, but to uncover. Not to build, but to reveal. You are that mirror. The dust is the world's opinions, your own accumulated judgments, the stories of not enoughness, the fatigue of trying. The cleaning is not a harsh scrubbing. It is the soft, patient, compassionate attention of awareness. Each time you notice a self-critical thought and let it pass without believing it, you wipe a spot clean. Each time you feel an emotion without running from it, you clear a space. Each time you rest in silence instead of filling it with noise, the reflection grows clearer. You are not making yourself worthy. You are revealing the worth that has been there all along, beneath the dust. So, what now? After all these words, all these stories, what is left? A simple invitation. To stop. To rest. To breathe. To be. You have carried the map for so long, studying it under every light, tracing every possible route. You can fold the map now. You are already here. The territory you sought is under your feet. The love you longed for is in the heart that beats without your command. The acceptance you craved is in the breath that enters and leaves without asking permission. Let's end with one final metaphor, one last image to carry into your silence. Imagine you are a deep, still well in the middle of a forgotten forest. For years, you have been tossing stones into your own water, stones of regret, stones of fear, stones of future worry. And then leaning over, trying to see your reflection in the disturbed, murky surface. You conclude, my water is muddy. I am unclear. The practice has never been to fish out every stone. That is impossible. The practice is to stop throwing stones. To let the water settle. And then, to look down and see that the well is so deep, it has always reflected the stars, even in the darkest night. Your essence is that depth. Your nature is that clarity. It has never been absent. It has only been waiting for the ripples to subside. The journey of self-love ends where it began, in the quiet acknowledgement of your own being. You are enough. Not because you did enough, became enough, or learned enough. But because to be is enough. Existence itself is the only credential you need. You belong here, in life, as you are, in this moment, with all your perceived flaws and luminous perfections, because the universe would not have breathed you into form if it did not have a place for you. You are not an accident. You are an expression. So, as our time in this spoken temple comes to a close, I offer you not a conclusion, but a commencement. A beginning of a softer way. Carry this silence with you. Let it be the space between your thoughts, the pause between your reactions, the gentle hand on your own heart when the world feels sharp. You are no longer a stranger to yourself. You have met the one you have been seeking. And you can meet them again, in any moment, with a single breath. Welcome home.